Hello, APC family. I come to you with this pastoral check-in to give some thought and words to our day of prayer and fasting on Wednesday, July 8th. I'd like to ask you to think about prayer and fasting with me briefly today. This is actually the 5th day of prayer and fasting we have observed. The elders have asked for this calendar year. Why? Because we have many important decisions to make along the way, this journey that we've been on for the past 4 years with respect to a church building in the future for Alexandria Pres. We prayed and fasted over 4 years ago in our decision whether to purchase the property of Alexandria Bible Church. We saw God answer in a very clear way. Indeed, God has really made that very clear to us many times over since then. I think back just to even a little over a year ago in our capital campaign when we prayed and fasted on different days, asking God to make it very clear what He wanted us to do about this capital campaign. As many of you know, God answered in abundantly clear ways. We saw God raise over $2 million more than we had anticipated. This is the power of God when we seek God and ask Him to make His plan and His purpose clear to us. So, 3 very brief questions today. First of all is, why do we fast? Well, the Bible's very clear that Jesus Himself fasted on many occasions. Jesus started His public ministry with 40 days of prayer and fasting out in the desert, seeking God's direction for His public ministry, for God's enabling and empowering. I think it's clear that if Jesus thought this necessary, how much more should we, who are not the Son of God, seek this kind of fellowship and communion with God, direction for our lives. You may recall that He spent the night in prayer and fasting before He chose His 12 apostles. Again, we could say, well, why would He do that? Didn't He already know? Well, it's clear that He felt it was necessary to seek His Father's face and clear direction as to who to choose for His apostles. We're not choosing apostles, but we are contemplating and asking God to make clear to us what He wants us to do going forward about taking out a loan, a lot of money, in order to build this church building that so many people have been working on among various committees the past 4 years. Why fast? To take time alone to approach God. One other thought comes to mind. I think Jesus assumed fasting among Christians. Remember in the Sermon on the Mount, He said, when you fast and pray, don't be gloomy in your face, drawing attention to yourselves. It seems that Jesus assumed that Christians would fast and pray, and so we do. The second point is how do we fast? That raises the question, what exactly is fasting? Fasting is abstaining from certain parts of our life that are routine, abstaining from perhaps eating or drinking or rest, sleep, abstaining from a certain thing for a certain amount of time to give our undivided attention to seeking God's direction and guidance. It's hitting the pause button on other things in our life so that we can be fully focused on the things of God and seeking His guidance and His direction. Therefore, this requires getting alone, getting away from the distractions. And I think how we fast requires that we spend time in God's Word. As we're in His Word, seeking His guidance, and then to have extended time of prayer after we are in His Word. Thirdly and lastly, for what purpose do we fast today? Well, specifically, in preparation for the congregational meeting this coming Sunday at 5 o'clock, we're asking God to continue to lead, to direct, to guide us, to confirm we believe the path that He wants us to continue going. God, is this your will? that we take this big step forward this coming Sunday in our congregational meeting to enter into the building program and to see God put a new church home, a new tabernacle, as we've talked about the last several years, on our property at West Braddock Road. A place, a sanctuary where we, God's people, will continue to worship Him for generations to come. This is a big decision. It's not a decision that we should be comfortable making in our own mind with our own thoughts or opinions, our own preferences. We don't have the resources in and of ourselves to make this decision. That's why we fast and pray. As the proverb said in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding. In all of your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. This verse came close to home in my life as a boy. This was one of my father's favorite Bible verses, so much so that this is the Bible verse he wrote in my Bible on the front page of my Bible, the first Bible that he gave me when I was a child. A Bible that I still have, a Bible that I still believe more than ever. I'm so grateful that my parents taught me how to pray at an early age, to learn how to throw my thoughts, my concerns on God in prayer, and to fast, to set time apart to do this, seeking God's clear and specific direction for important decisions in my life. I'm so grateful to pastor a congregation of so many people who likewise practice prayer and fasting. So would you join me for this day of prayer, July 8th, in setting time aside to continue seeking God's clear direction about this next important step we have. Thank you for your prayer. Thank you for your fasting. Thank you for seeking God, that we're not going to lean on our own understanding, but we're going to acknowledge Him once again, and He's going to direct our paths. Thank you.